If you are building an online business and you want more visibility, there are so many strategies that you could try. There is social media, there is YouTube, blogging, or even networking. But today I want to share with you about a strategy that many people overlook, and I do believe that it can significantly accelerate how quickly people discover you. Welcome to Step Into Your Voice, a podcast for women and business moms who are ready to stop dimming their light and start showing up with courage, clarity, and confidence. I am your host, Nina Macarie, and that strategy is podcast guesting. Some people might think that, oh, this is trendy, especially if you are launching a book, but I think that it really allows you to reach those people who are already invested and trusting the hosts they are listening to on a regular basis. When I first entered the podcasting world, I actually believed that I could stay completely behind the scenes. I only had this big desire to support other moms share their voices, and I thought that it's my role to just do the work behind the scenes because the people who need to be in center of the spotlight are those business owners who are very outspoken, very shiny, very loud or extroverted, and I'm none of those things. And I thought that my place is to do the work behind the scenes to support those people who really want the spotlight, who really want to be the center of attention. This is why I thought that supporting other women entrepreneurs with podcast pitching or launching and editing their podcast would be enough for me. But little by little, I started to notice something. Those people who were using their voice publicly, speaking, sharing ideas, appearing on other podcasts, were moving forward much faster than I was. And this is not for me to compare myself with them. It was just that I noticed they were building trust faster, they were growing their audience faster, and they were getting more opportunities faster. And I was just working behind the scenes. I was still in the same spot. And that was for me a big realization, even though I did not woke up one day and realized suddenly that I want to be the center of attention. All I noticed was that visibility multiplies everything. If you think about it, a lot of business owners focus on creating more content. They focus on content creation. But actually, growth happens when new people discover you. Because when you put new content in front of the same audience, you are growing slowly. But when more people, and by more people, I mean more ideal potential clients, discover you, then you can grow faster. And podcast guesting can help you with these things because you are introduced to a new audience every time you show up on a new podcast. You borrow the trust that the host you are having a conversation with is invested by their audience. And also, those listeners are going to hear your voice for 30 or sometimes even 60 minutes. So this is going to be far deeper than just a social media post, whether it's a reel or a carousel post, they definitely spend more time with you listening to that podcast episode than they spend with you on social media. And I believe that podcast guesting really solves three problems. It can work for you even if you don't have the biggest audience out there. You, as I mentioned, will borrow that host trust. So, if regular listeners trust the host, they will automatically trust you, because when you think about it from a listener perspective, and you are listening to a podcast on a regular basis, you will just think about it from your perspective as a regular listener. When you love a show, you trust the host, you listen to that show on a regular basis, you also trust that the host will do their best to bring only special people on their show. You trust that they are vetting and curating the guest they will bring on. They will not bring any random person out there they can find online. You trust that they will bring amazing, incredible guests, because this is what's gonna help that show grow, and it's gonna help the host, and obviously the host wants to highlight the guest. And finally, I believe those long conversations are going to build authority much faster. So if you are trying to grow your visibility, but you feel like you are shouting into the void on social media, then podcast guesting might be the missing piece. Tell me in the comments if you've been already a podcast guest, or if you are going to start using this strategy to grow your business. In the next episode, I'm going to talk about something that many aspiring podcast guests struggle with, and that is how to position yourself so that podcast hosts actually want to invite you on their show. See you soon.